Good morning, guys. Hope you're all having a nice weekend. I'm just jumping on a quick live. I haven't done one in ages because we have been super busy. But yeah, just a couple of things. First and foremost, oh, look at that view. Look at that view. Yeah, just a couple of things. So anyone new to the group that has joined recently, welcome and thank you. You'll be glad to know you've probably joined the best Staffy group there is on Facebook. Go on, Team Staffy. Like I always say. But yeah, the group is made by you guys. You make it a fun, good training environment. You're making it friendly, non-judgmental, which is exactly what we like, okay? And that goes throughout. So for some of the people who may not have read the welcome post, stuff like that, just quickly, if you do notice anything untoward in the group, people selling, dodgy profiles coming in, abusive comments, stuff like that, just either tag me or Stace in it, or just report it and it'll come through to us as admins and moderators so we can have a look at it, okay? We want to try and keep this group as friendly as possible. Like I say to everyone, if you've got a training question, put that question up. You might think it's the stupidest question ever, or you're going to be judged with it. You're not, okay? The only stupid thing would be not putting that question up and sitting there in silence with a problem, okay? That's what we're here for. I'm here to learn. I learn from you guys. I've had some really good little tips and tricks off people when I've seen them comment, and it's really twigged my mind and I've used them, okay? But the main purpose of this video, so a lot of behaviours that we see in dogs, particularly staffies, because they're stubborn as anything. So our normal behaviours, jumping up on guests, barking at windows and all that good stuff, okay? What we want to be doing is we want to try and make sure that they are making the right choice instead of us trying to mould them into what we want them to do, okay? And by that, I mean things like barking at a window, okay? So I've just spoken to a customer now who's got a very similar issue, so we've had a few discussions, which, without going off topic, is where I say about how important the mentorship packages are, okay? So the advice I give on the group is always going to be a generic advice that I can give, okay? But again, if you want tailored advice, behaviour structure plans, that's where my mentorship comes in. I get to know the dog, we do onboarding, I find out a wealth of information. So it's that trial and error, and we can try different things with that dog to get it to work, okay? Without going off topic. Anyway, this customer's having an issue with barking at the window, okay? So what tends to be happening is dog reacts, gets highly aroused from running to the sofa over to the window, okay? Dog is barking, hears other dogs barking in the streets, watching people walk by, all that good stuff, okay? So what's currently happening is dog's been pulled away from the window, taken away from that stimulus, okay? Which is fine, that stops the problem temporarily, okay? The barking stops and that stimulus is over. However, the problem with that is we're not teaching the dog what we actually want, okay, which is the main important factor. We want that behaviour to stop. We don't want to keep firefighting, as I would call it, okay, and constantly dealing with that problem every time it comes up. Let's try and stop that problem as it happens, okay? So all we need to do is let the dog make that better choice, okay? Yes, we may have to persevere and put up with it for a week or so, but you're better off persevering and having some bad behaviour with a view to better behaviour than constantly trying to maintain that behaviour for however long that dog's got left of their life, okay? So, for example, the window barking, okay? You can drag them away, you can shout stop, no, behave, whatever the case may be, okay? But you are better off letting them make that choice, okay? Rewarding positively, which is what we're all about, okay? We want the dog to feel like they've achieved something and they're doing something right and they're pleasing us. They get off on that, so do we, okay? So all I want you to do in situations like that is let them make the better choice. So in the window barking scenario, okay, we go over to the window with them, they're barking, going crazy, going nuts, and we just completely ignore them. We stand next to them and we just let them go hell for leather, absolutely nuts. They are not getting any gratification from it because we're not in a slanging match, okay? So regardless of whether it's good or bad attention, okay, dogs will still thrive on attention regardless of whether it's good or bad. So we try and limit that stimulus and that appeasal, or what they believe to be appeasal from us, by shouting at them, okay? We just simply wait for them to make the better choice. As soon as that behaviour stops and they have a break in that barking and there's silence, we instantly get that positive rewarding, okay? So if you're using a clicker, that's a really good one, okay, to mark rewards. So bang that clicker in, reward, food reward, and then what they'll start to learn is their better behaviour gets them what they want, okay? So same as jumping up, okay? I know jumping up is a massive one with people, okay? So that is another one, okay? Persevere with it. So if you've got someone coming in, or your dog is super excitable when you're coming in, instead of turning away, taking away that stimulus, or making it a fun game, waving your hands around and all that good stuff, okay? As painful as it might be, especially with new puppies that are biting, okay? So the puppy biting is exactly the same as the jumping up. Just persevere and let them make that better choice. What you've got to look at is when a dog does something that they shouldn't be doing, okay, there is a reason why they are doing it. They are getting some sort of gratification from that situation, okay? So in the case of puppy biting, they'll be jumping up, they'll be biting, but they will be getting attention from you, okay? There's two ways we normally give negative attention and reinforce that behaviour, and one of them is flailing arms around, sticking hands out, turning around, making it what they perceive to be a fun game, okay? The other stimulus they're getting is you shouting and screaming at them, but they're getting your attention, which is the end goal of what they want. They're biting your hands, they're being little buggers just to get attention, okay? So we need to try and remove that. As painful as it might be with the razor shark teeth at the moment when they're puppies, okay? But we want to try and stop that happening. Again, that's showing the better behaviour, okay? So the jumping up, all we need to do is stand firm, arms crossed, okay? Don't acknowledge that dog jumping up whatsoever, as hard as it may be sometimes, okay? And what they'll tend to do is they'll realise that that behaviour is not getting them any benefit, okay? So they will try a different appeasal behaviour, okay? And when they do, that is what we need to really mark and reward, okay? So if you've got a dog jumping up and is grabbing your clothes, trying to get your attention and is not getting anything from you, not even eye contact, they will temporarily try something else, and this could be a 2-second sit, not even 2 seconds, but they will try something else as a way to say, right, that's not working for me, jumping up, I'm not getting the end desired result that I normally would, so let me try something else. They'll go into a sit, okay, and by doing that they're instantly going to get rewarded. Good boy, good girl, that's exactly what I wanted. That will then reinforce that behaviour, okay? It won't stop it overnight, they might jump straight back up, but what you'll tend to find is that jumping up will either stop quickly or it'll stop altogether, okay? Puppy biting is the same. Just try and remain calm. Don't flail your hands around. Keep your arms crossed, okay? Wear thick clothing if you can, because it stops the impact of the biting on the skin. But as soon as they realise that there is no motion in your hands, they're not able to pull your hands and get into that tug-of-war mentality, they will have periods where they will break from that behaviour. And again, it might be only momentarily for a couple of seconds, okay? But that's when we need to be really on it and marking that reward, okay? Mark and reward, sorry, that behaviour, okay? So many people fall foul because they don't mark and reward the behaviour when it is shown as positive. So they'll tell a dog not to do something, and then when they don't do it, we don't get that reward in, okay? I'm sure I can see Sarah coming on, who's one of my customers, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying, but when we were on our call, her dog was jumping up and causing issues, and when we've sort of discussed it on camera, asking to ignore, he's then sat down and instantly there's been a change in behaviour. He stopped jumping up, gets a bit of praise. So that's just a quick example. But to take anything away from this video, guys, try and let the dog make the choice of that better behaviour, okay? It's harder to mould a behaviour and shout at them and tell them off and get them into a different behaviour when they can make that choice themselves. If they're making that choice themselves, they are subconsciously aware of what is going on and they are realising what is working for them. And that could be with any behaviour. It could be dog reactivity, it could be jumping up, it could be barking, whatever the case may be. If we can persevere through that bad behaviour and let those cogs in the brain start working, and then they can choose what is actually working better for them. As soon as they realise biting, jumping up is not working, okay, then that problem's going to stop because they realise what benefits them more. That's what they're in it for. They're in it for the gratification, they're in it for the praise. And if that bad behaviour now is not getting them that, they will try and choose a different behaviour, okay? Likewise, whenever you've got a bad behaviour like jumping up, etc., try and break that down into a scenario. Treat every part of your training as its own little scenario, okay? So, you know, you have your own little scenarios that you're not even really aware of when you're doing lead walking, okay? So it could be a case of you're going out for a walk, you grab that lead, you put the dog into a sit, you apply that lead, you walk to the front door, they sit calmly, you go out the front door. That in itself is a little routine, okay? So when you've got a bad behaviour, try and do exactly the same. So jumping up is a massive one that I say to customers, of trying to have a planned routine. If you can teach a dog a routine to a scenario, then you are going to be much better off because they will start going through those stages in their brain and knowing what comes next. Same as like I said about lead walking, you'll tend to find that as soon as the lead comes out, the dog knows exactly what's coming next. So they'll go to a particular place where they sit, where you apply the lead, they'll go to the front door. That is because you've taught that behaviour in a set pattern and routine. Okay, so jumping up I know is a massive one, so I'll focus on that. If we can keep to the same routine where a guest comes to the door, the dog goes to a certain point of the hallway and sits there calmly, they know the next step, right, the guest is going to come in, we're going to close the door. Fantastic, okay, the dog stays in place. Then they know the guest comes over and greets the dog. If that dog gets excitable, we just revert back to what we said just now about teaching that better behaviour. Okay, so either we stop them jumping up by ignoring them and letting them choose that better behaviour, or we can intervene if their behaviour gets too excitable, and we can ask for behaviour. So like I said earlier, we're quick enough to tell dogs not to do something, but we never tell them what we actually want. Okay, so that's where that can change. We can ask for a sit. When paws are on floors and they're in a seated position, then they can have some praise. Okay, little important factor that a lot of people don't realise is you should never praise a dog over the top of the head. Okay, because it is seen as over domineering and quite dominant. Okay, so try and reward on the withers and the back and the shoulders, underneath the chin, which is a more relaxed posture for them anyway. Okay, if that dog comes out of the sit and starts being excitable, that guest just stands back up, completely ignores, or asks for a sit again. Okay, it's a little bit of perseverance, but if you can follow that routine, the dog knows exactly what is expected of them when a guest comes. Okay, the problem being is every guest will treat the dog differently, and that's where we need to be in touch with that. So you'll have some guests who come in who are quite happy to lay on the floor and fuss with the dog, get them super aroused. You get others who don't want dogs jumping up on them, and then that's obviously going to be a conflict. Okay, so there's a certain element of dealing with the guest as well as the dog, and for anyone who's having trouble with dogs jumping up on guests, you'll know that the guest is probably harder to train than the dog. Okay, but that was just a little bit from me, guys. I was speaking to a customer and it sort of twigged my mind, so I thought I'd jump on and do a bit of a live because I haven't been on for ages as well. Apologies, been so busy. You know where you are. If you need anything from us, just tag us in it, guys, but keep the group going as it is. It's growing massively and I absolutely love it. It's such a social space. Getting to know you all. You all sort of self-manage in the group. You know, if any bad comments pop up, I'm the first to know about it. People are marking me in them, tagging me, reporting them, which is absolutely fantastic and is exactly what we want. Like I've always said, if you've ever heard me talk from day one, I don't want to be just another staffy group. I want us to all learn. That's why we do webinars and we get all that good stuff. Okay. While I'm on the subject, we have got places on our mentorship. Okay. Online training. Yes, it seems crazy that it actually works, but if you think about it, we don't need to train a dog. We need to train the owner. Okay. We can train the owner to show the dog exactly what we want. We've got a couple of places on our 3 month and our 6 months. If you want some more information, go over to celticbarks.com. Click the 3 lines in the top left corner and you can go to our packages and prices. Okay, all the mentorship is online. If you live local, then obviously we can do in person or we can travel, it's not an issue, but predominantly we're all online. Okay, for any of my customers, I've had 25 plus that have left reviews. Okay, you can read those on Google and our Facebook page, and I'm sure they'll reassure you in the benefit they've had from it. Okay, you will have ongoing WhatsApp support with me every single day. If you want to message me daily, weekly, monthly, whatever the case may be, that is the value in our packages and our mentorship. Okay, I will be with you, holding your hand through the whole step of your training journey. Trial and error, we try things, they don't work, we can go back to the drawing board. If you're doing training, you can send it to me, I can critique it, so you don't have to go anywhere else. You've got someone on hand to help you. Okay, guys, at the end of the day, results is what we want and results is what we get. Okay, hope you all have a lovely weekend. Oh, and I got some comments coming in through text message. Samantha, unfortunately, yes, we will all have those guests who are dicks, and I got to hold my hands up whenever I meet a new customer and their dog. It's probably me that's the dick, so I always have to give them a pre-warning that practice what I say, not what I do. Okay, because every customer I go to, and I'm sure if some pop on here, they'll probably agree, that as soon as I walk in the door, the first thing I want to do is fuss with the dog. But again, that's just me. But yes, we do all have guests that are negative for our dogs, so we need to have a certain level of control with them. But I hope this video's helped, guys, give you a few tips and things to think about. But just remember, the dog will make the right choice if you let them. That's when we mark and reward. Okay, have a lovely weekend, guys. Speak to you all soon. Keep doing what you're doing. Team Staffy, let's go.